Hi there. Getting close. It's a little bit after 5 to see him lifted off. Apparently figured out a way to put the crane there. And I'm going to turn around. You can see there's a lot of people here. On one end, I'm a little bit at a loss for words here because it's weird as I see some of the stuff. I think the mayor just gave a speech that somehow this will end white supremacy. Taking down a monument to a man who said slavery is a moral and political evil. So that to me just seems like no one really knows who this guy was. He was a guy that actually fought to end slavery, and somehow he's a white supremacist. And that's kind of sad. He's also a guy that helped the United States win World War II and thus create the civil rights legislation because of his efforts in teaching. He was studied immensely by George Patton and Eisenhower. So now we're going to take him down. We talked last night about putting a Muhammad Ali statue there, and some people said that's fine, but just put him someplace, put it in another spot of the city. So behind Lee is the World War II Museum. And the road's been blocked off all day. What's come out recently is that the non-profit has been paying the company that's taking the monuments down. And apparently they've been paying firefighters. So you got firefighters using, perhaps, I want to put the quote there, but it's getting more credible, city-owned equipment for their outside business activity. And that's really not acceptable. So a lot of move the money from the donor to the non-profit to the contractor to the firefighters. And there's cranes and everything else they've been using are city equipment. So it's at a little bit of loss there. We'll talk more about that later. But now I just wanted to, you guys can see how we're looking here. People I'm seeing are sharing the video, so I might leave it roll for a little bit longer and give people a perspective to what's going on. There's some bands playing music over there. It's hard to distinguish. I know there's a large group of taken down people over there. The thing is, again, is that we're leaving up more than a dozen Confederate monuments. So why moving this one does anything, I'm at a loss. But it seemed like one of the things I applied because we're interested in keeping a couple of them here that have Italian connections. That would be the 1891 lynching of some Sicilians has connection to one of the monuments, so we would like to keep that. And they said they'll let me know when they get the RFP. But we know they're talking to other places. They said they weren't talking to Beauvoir, where Davis could be honored. They want to put them in a place. There's a lot of rumor to create a new museum, and there's actually one building that's right behind me, which I'll turn and let you see. And you can see that building right there. It's right behind the crane. This building that says Artworks is a desire to move to open up a civil rights museum in that building. And oddly enough, they had been awarded a contract to turn the building over to a cultural institute to teach culinary schools skills for New Orleans. And then that got yanked from them a few years back in lieu of putting in a civil rights museum there. So, not sure what's going to go on, but whether or not the city is taking these monuments down to help the Civil Rights Museum get some publicity and more clientele. But that's been rumored in good sources, so we'll keep an eye on that. And other thing is, you can see the workers are, I'm going to turn this back to the monument. They're up top right now in that crane, and you can see two guys that are trying to, I guess, loosen the bolts that hold Lee to that pedestal. It looks like they sprayed a lot of like rust remover on there, and right now he's ratcheting. So that's what it looks like. And this is what the other side of Howard Avenue looks like. And, there's I can see the Olympia brass bands there, and the cameramen over here from the media. Roughly, I'm going to guess 200-300 people here right now, and no certain telling right now when it's going to come down. But I think we are a decent amount of time away. What was posted on one station was this was going to happen sooner than later. And again, it's so dramatic. We haven't seen it during the day where we could actually film it. So I do want to maybe just let it run here for a while so you can see what it looks like. The word was these guys weren't able to balance that crane right away, and hence it's been going on for a very long time. Last night there was 200-300 people here say goodbye to it, and some to cheer that it's leaving, others sad that it's going. But it apparently the mayor did have a reception at 3 o'clock this afternoon. I haven't had time to look and see what he said on that, but he said he was elected to get rid of white supremacy, is what I saw one quote say, and by doing this it's apparently going to achieve that. I don't know. There's a little plane flying overhead right now, private plane. We can hear some of the clanging. That must be one hell of a socket set they got to unbolt him. And you're wondering how they put him up there over 130 years ago. So they're going to leave the pedestal. They're going to leave the pedestal and put a fountain. And I'm trying to picture what that's going to look like as just this 60-foot tall column with water scooting out the top of it. What's sad in a way is that the mayor had so much of a platform to call honorable people white supremacists. So that mound represents, I'll get in the front here again, the mound that you see here, 11,000 people from Louisiana didn't return from the Civil War. And this is basically a burial mound. We hear Indian burial mounds. We would never see people protesting, or we would see people protesting if they were doing some construction on an Indian burial mound. But because they're Southerners from Louisiana, the burial mound's acceptable to destroy. This is a place where everybody who lost an ancestor that fought under Lee, again, we're still going to have the LSU Fighting Tigers, which are Lee's Fighting Tigers, that honored them. So there's still Robert E. Lee Boulevard. It makes no sense because there's so much stuff dedicated to Lee. They're removing one monument when you're still going to have the thing that everybody cheers for, the LSU Tigers, with the name of his battalion on it, or regiment. So I'm kind of at a loss there. This whole thing has been incomprehensible logic. That's going to solve so much problems. I think the mayor yesterday said that monument made great brain power leave. Well, I left because there was basically in the early 80s, New Orleans doesn't have a a manufacturing base. And I know a lot of my friends left. And Lee's monument was not what I put down when I figured out that I needed to leave New Orleans. But now it is. I do want to thank, because I'm going to keep talking now, because I just see that Hollywood South News and 11 others are sharing this video, and we've had some of our videos go incredibly viral. So even though I don't have a lot of content while we're waiting, I don't want to not be down when that happens. I don't want to lose the audience. Maybe it's just worth watching and seeing how it plays out. Perhaps I can get a little bit closer for it, so you can kind of see what it looks like over there. I do want to put down that we have a petition called SaveNolaHeritage.org, which stops the city council from removing monuments to U.S. military veterans. Because outside of the Civil War, this guy fought in the Mexican-American War, and he was head of West Point, the engineering school for the Army, for a while. He actually spent 6 months in New Orleans in 1845 before he shipped out to Mexico to fight in the Mexican-American War, which stopped that war from spreading from Texas into Louisiana. So it was earlier things the mayor said that he had never been to Louisiana or New Orleans, which is also false. This circle, Lee Circle, the city's going to have to, if they rename it, there's in this building here, the building right here has about 80 companies in it, non-profits. The city has to reimburse them to redo their letterhead, their stationery, business cards, any trucks. It's just an enormous amount of money. And the thing that people are avoiding discussing is the impact on the retirement system in New Orleans, because they've been having for the last months a lot of overtime paid to police. And that means when they retire at a higher salary for the rest of their life. So with that, New Orleans has now to figure out how to pay that long-term debt for taking these monuments down. So even though it's reported Wynton Marsalis, Harry Connick Jr., and a few other people put up the money for this, there's so much other cost involved that nobody funded. And the city's going to now not have money to fully staff the police department because it's taking care of retirement plans. So I'm going to go ahead and walk closer. I want to point out something. For the most part, really, the crowd is really well behaved. There's a bunch of people watching. You can see over there, it's hard to imagine how many news crews are here to film this. And do want to keep this going. That's a nice number. As long as I got battery power, we try to do this. They've got him strapped. It must have been interesting to see how they got all those straps around him. Who knows how long it's going to be before they're able to actually unbolt him from that column. Funny, there's someone videoing us videoing the statue. The interesting thing here, so an interesting concept right now is you wonder what each group is thinking. That being that, you know, the mayor's thinking maybe these are the only 4 I want. Other groups think like this is just the beginning. The mayor did say at one point that this was just the start. So New Orleans has been going on for 2 years. Going to be dealing with this for many, many years to come. And, probably about 100 different things on a list that people have talked about wanting removed. About 20 monuments, schools, streets. So again, what happens once you leave here? Because Beauregard, he's such a hero in Louisiana that there's dorms named after him, there's parishes named after him. You know, you're going to take it in a very small, concentrated area, but you're still going to have a tremendous amount of people. To think that the World War II Museum right behind here, they're putting up a statue right now. So my thought would be, they should be perhaps leveraging Lee to say what Eisenhower and Patton learned from studying Lee and what they attributed their success in World War II to Lee was. Because Eisenhower thought enough of it that he hung Lee's portrait in the Oval Office. Again, we have our petition, and we are looking to launch a second one that says right now the election will be in November for new mayor, and if we can get it on the ballot, right, they've created a special situation in New Orleans where Mayor Landrieu will stay on for 7-8 months after his election, after the election of the new mayor. That doesn't make sense. The League of Women Voters has come out opposed to that. They said the mayor should get installed within 2 months of being elected. And we'll see how that plays out. Like they're polishing General Lee's boots right now. giving it a spit shine before they take it down. I looked at some of the comments, and I'm still perplexed at how supposedly this monument represents so much hate. I don't get that. Still, you know, the funny thing also is the Beauregard Monument and Davis Monument were connected by a path that they just put in called the Jean Lafitte Gateway. You can ride your bike, you can walk it. Jean Lafitte was the biggest slave trader ever in the history of the country. It's like we know so little about our history. Rather than taking down monuments to them and building a bigger pathway to honor Jean Lafitte, who, once they outlawed bringing slaves into America, would sail to Haiti, steal them into Haiti. He was a pirate. And then bring them back into America through Houma, as opposed to going up the Mississippi River and sneak them into New Orleans to sell. As a pirate, he's being respected, honored, and everything else. But he obviously was Muslim. He was one of the guys that transported the slaves. And yet, nobody knows that because they're happy to build a bigger pathway and bikeway to honor him. And supposedly, this guy, again, is coming down. So the art's got to be worth about $10 million. And who knows what the bill is, maybe $10 million, maybe more that they've spent removing this to leave up a dozen Confederate monuments.
$10 million is like, wow, it's a good return. If they can sell it for that much.
I know. Well, they just sold a piece of art for $110 million today.
I heard about that.
So that's what I mean. Like, you know, what would something like that be worth if you could sell a painting for $110 million?
Right. I mean, I don't know what the market is for like Confederate stuff that has such a bad karma to it or whatever, but I'm sure there's somebody that would pay a lot to put it at their house, at the mansion, or make a park out of it. Or
so absolutely, you know, he's been on U.S. stamps. He's been on so much. He's on a submarine they named after him.
Yeah.
Eisenhower had him in the White Oval Office. So,
what?
Eisenhower hung his portrait in the Oval Office when he was president.
Okay, I didn't know that.
He said that he wished that every American had the same caliber as Lee.
He was a great man.
Yeah.
I understand why people hate this, because, you know.
I kind of do. I have some friends that talk to that explain it. It's still hard because that mound represents the 11,000 of men that fought under him from Louisiana as Lee's regiment didn't come home. That's like a burial mound. So there might be people that hate this, and other people say, well, that's where my ancestors were.
Yeah, and there's so many people that think he's a traitor. It's like, you know what? Back then, they lived in a time when your state was really more important than the United States.
Right.
Because it was your state. They were united, but it was your state. You know, so that was more important. Where you were from was more important than the group. And so you can't say he was a traitor because of that.
You know, like, how did the Constitution write? They actually thought that under certain reasons they could have secession.
And obviously they did it, and it just didn't work.
Right.
Because they lost.
Yeah. You know, and
it's,
yeah, it is. Like, I wish we had studied that states' rights issue.
Yeah. And they want to say the wars about slavery. And that was the biggest issue at the time between the states. But it was really about states' rights, even though that was the issue of the day.
Well, there was and another issue, though, was the North was putting a lot of tariffs on the South. So it started after the War of 1812. We were heavily in debt, and they started putting these tariffs on imports from England because they were pissed at England. So the South was sending cotton to England, and importing English goods. And that benefited the North at the South's expense. So the South,
I got you. Because we traded with Britain more, we paid more taxes because of tariffs.
Yes.
Okay.
And on certain goods that they put them on because they could make shirts in the North. So if you put it on shirts that were coming back from England, we could buy our shirts cheaper from Britain at the time than we could from Pennsylvania. Okay. So have you remember? I had reread all this. Remember hearing like the Great Compromise? You know, we're in school.
Right.
So those things are like abstract. So that tariff, the Morrill Tariff, went into 1860 in effect, and that's when the South seceded really nothing that they had not banned slavery. All they did was put the moral tariff on. South Carolina said enough with the tariffs. They're like 45% tariff. Sometimes even higher. So they said, we're tired of the tariff stuff.
Yeah, go ahead and document.
All right, sure. Thanks. Well, my guess is we're getting a lot closer because these guys are apparently finished. And in the past, they haven't totally come back down. They stay in the vicinity of the statue when they take it down. So I guess any moment now, they're going to try to go ahead and lift it up. We'll see what what it looks like. I think these guys are there in case they got to go back up and fix something, or it may have just over time rusted onto the monument. Wow. Pathetic. Looks like now, from what I can tell. I think over time that monument has adhered to the base. Maybe they can get enough lift on that crane to pop it off without it going crazy. They're snapping it. They're set a rope. They got a rope down to the ground here, and a guy on the ground. I'm not sure what they're going to try to do to free it. But again, my thought is somehow
we don't have
fix
all this
itself to the top of the pillar.
It's got to own the night they're taking Davis down. Saw that. Saw Beauregard.
Well, they all were given,
Yeah, but who owns it? The city or the people?
So one of the the things is like that's been brought up is these associations, like the Daughters of the Confederacy, who had lost their fathers in the war or their brothers, put up the money to put up the monument. Now the city is going to take it and sell it to a civil rights museum, which just doesn't seem right. If you want it, you don't want to have it. You got to give it back to the Daughters of the Confederacy. It's a strange money-making deal. The mayor's had fundraisers for his NOLA PAC on these nights where he takes them around town, big receptions. It's been a very big event for him to consolidate his base at level. I'm pleased right now. I got a jet ski right now. And a kayak. I had a boat. I don't have a boat right now.
It could be fun. They used to do a lot of sailing there.
Why don't you pay to have him put in your front yard?
Yeah, it'd be nice for him,
I mean, you got Public Enemy over there. I gotta be sure we can get it.
That's so weird. Boy, he looks like shit on the ground. Funny.
Dude, you need to link up with MC for this like the fifth time somebody's come up here.
I'm not tolerant of this.
Hey, look, are you whatever, yeah, Michael, this is my work.
I've been here for 150 years, rounded at you, raced it.
No, let's talk.
There's a lot of chats and comments going on. I'm actually going to go look for another vantage spot to get some different angles on this. So I'm going to leave this rolling and rather than lose everybody, because we got an audience of over 200 right now, and I'd rather keep it the communication going and some interesting comments coming out. But obviously the career is over. So I'm going to watch, stay with us, we'll keep filming. recording right now. I don't think I've ever met you.
Zoe
Nice to meet you.
and Lisa.
An honor. I've heard a lot of great things about you two guys.
We're a
You're a
little-
big sailor.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, the mic is on. I'm still, we got,
Will you be at Rock and Bowl?
oh yes.
Okay, I have an announcement there, so
Okay.
going forward.
Well, we should communicate.
We will.
And I got 154 people watching right now if you want to say anything to the camera. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a very tragic day for America.
Talk louder a little bit.
It's a very tragic day for America, and it's a very tragic day for all of us, even those who don't realize this yet, as inclusion and history are displaced for, I'm not quite sure what yet, but pray for our city.
Anyway, there's a little rally going over there on that side from the Taking Down NOLA group, and I don't know, maybe, what do you think, it's 100 people over there?
Yeah, about that.
About 100 people. So those people will no longer be offended.
Right. We'll all have jobs, wonderful education tomorrow.
Yes. And meantime, this is on the message, which was weird. Again, this guy said slavery is a moral and political evil, and he helped win World War II, which led to the Civil Rights Act. So he's gone. But that group over there now is unoffended.
They're unoffended.
So again, I was getting ready to, I'm going to put this here for...
I gotta go and get on that now. I've been, you
Okay, we
understand.
started another one that ends his term soon. And I'll show you that one. But we found out that they amended the city charter, but they don't let the new mayor take office for like 7 months.
Well, he has to have his
That's right. That's right. I'll see you. Well, I think the easiest thing to do right now actually is to go ahead and sign off. And yeah, you can kind of see what it looks like here. But it's actually a big non-event. So we're going to go ahead and sign off and post.
Unbelievable.
Although I got to say, I still love the comments coming out. So
Homing device. Like if I can meet there,
I might walk over here just a little. What, you want to walk through it a little bit? Or?
Oh, well.
I just wanted to get this.
I know you're. Well, I got to know that one dude, Nicolo, because you like mentioned if you had commented. No, we've known each other. We were at Liberty Monument together. We ran into each other at Jeff Davis, and we had just gotten to know each other over like all these.
You know what?
He was a really good guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. It seemed like I was
No, you
like.
did. I knew it, but I think with all of the in writing, so I covered you really quick.
Yeah, and I made sure.
And I was sending
it.
private messages that like, no, you're getting this wrong. I quickly said, that we were friends, and but it's been so high-strung.
Oh yeah, it's like, are you kidding? Like at Jeff Davis, I got spit on by people who know that I actually go to city council and actually fight for social justice, who actually fights for economic justice and equality, and they spit on me. And all they do is come up and scream racist at people, but they do nothing else. I know. You know, I'm like, how are you gonna spit on me when I'm the one actually fighting for the things that you pay lip service to? That's messed up. You know, and so I quit with a lot of the Antifa and said, fight me. You know, and they're like, blah, blah. I'm like, I don't care what you think about me. The people that I work are the leaders of the African American community. And as long as they accept me, I don't give a shit about your little white liberal privilege.
Exactly.
So, you know, and I met a lot of people. Like Nicolo, and I know his real name, I just don't like saying Ricky. But like, I really like him, and we got to like talk a whole bunch and stuff like that. And we were out here last night stopping a bunch of the fights. But, you know, there's good people on both sides, and a lot of people aren't willing to look at it that way.
No, you know, there's so much that's missing. Hold on 1 second. Let me just kind of.
Don't worry.
Let me a second here. I'm just going to sign off officially. I wanted to get I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Interesting moment. New landscape of New Orleans, because there's nothing that's been presented to replace it. No funding. 20 years to raise the funds to put any of these monuments up. So now all of them are down. And for 2 years, no one has said what they were going to do. Very interesting scenario in New Orleans. We have election campaign system that started, and again, we took these down. Monuments to U.S. military veterans came down during the month to honor veterans, right before Memorial Day. The oddity of this.
I'm done.